How is everybody doing?
We're good.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here with us.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Super grateful to be spending this time here with you. My name's Fernando Valencia. I am the proud co-founder of a movement called Unblinded. But we're not here for all those facts. We're here for you. So we're going to be spending the next 30 minutes or so together discussing a few different topics. And first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you to Michelle. Thank you to her team. Thank you to Sankova. Thank you to everyone, her sponsors, for making this happen. The preachers of the world for coming together and creating something beautiful, something that's needed, something for you, something for the teens and the future leaders of our world to come together and do something magical. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be sharing the stage with Jan Hargrave and Matthew Ormond and Gina Ritchie and so many other fine folks that I've had the pleasure to grow and create with in the Unblinded movement. And today, we're going to jump into different conversations, and I want to keep it light. I know you have a long day. You have a lot going on. Some of you are super excited to be here, and some of you are I don't know why I'm here, and some of you are still trying to wake up from this morning because it might be rather early. All those factors included, you're still here, and that says a lot about you. It says that wherever you are in your development, there's an opening. There's an opening for something. That there's more. That there's possibility. You believe in hope, and you understand that God has blessed you with the opportunity to have that in your hands and to make that happen. So today, we're going to talk about something that you deal with all the time, literally all the time. Whether you see it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you understand it or not, we are always living in a world of influence. And I know for a lot of you, listen, I try to be cool and hip. My niece who's 13 and 9, they don't think I'm that cool, but I think I'm pretty hip. And when I say influence, I'm not talking about influencers, your favorite on Instagram with millions of followers. That's not the conversation we're having. And, between you and I lived in that world. I truly did. I lived in the world of influencer. I bought into vanity metrics. I would compare myself to everyone online. I would ask, why don't I have that? How can I get that? They're so lucky. Those conversations that at some level, at some point in my history, were present. And they hurt. And it made me sad. And I know you're on TikTok and you're on Snapchat and you're on Instagram. And, my girlfriend's always making TikTok videos. And, as much as it's a beautiful portal for creation, it also becomes a prison. It becomes a prison sometimes. A prison in which we compare ourselves. A prison in which we spend our time, our beautiful time. Listen, I love my niece. She's the love of my life. And she takes pride on her screen time being 24 hours a week on TikTok and Netflix. And it kills me. This is the closest person to me. And I know what's possible with that time. I joke with her. You can literally learn the language Mandarin in the same amount of time that you spend on TikTok and Netflix. And listen, it's all good. It's zero judgment. Do as you wish. You're at a beautiful stage in your life when you can create, make decisions. And the opportunity I give you for us to step into together is which of those decisions are most optimal. Now, as we flow around our conversation today, we're going to have one underlining topic. And I promise you, so stay with me. Stay with the listening of the power of influence. The power of influence. And every single day we use it. And I'm not going to go through all the examples. I'm going to focus on one today. Something that I think you know very well. It's influencing your guardians, influencing your parents, influencing, the positive leaders in your life, like teachers, like Michelle, trying to get Michelle to say yes to something. She's incredible, but man, it takes some influence, especially when she believes in something she believes in. So every single day we're influencing. Every single day we're influencing. So today I want to have a conversation with you on how we go from hello to yes with our parents. And I'll start with me. My family came here in 1986 from Colombia. I was first generation American, born here. And, my parents to this day speak minimal English. They speak, purely Spanish. And I remember growing up, I talked about this last night at dinner at our double date, until I was a senior year in high school. And for a lot of you, it's going to be jaw drop on the ground, no way. as I was mentally preparing for this conversation, putting myself into that stage. I'm 28 now, so we're not that far away. I remember when I was in high school, I had a curfew. I was allowed until my junior year of high school. I was allowed out to go once a week on Fridays until 10 p.m. That's right, one day a week until 10 p.m. And then my senior year, I really got the freedom I was looking for. I was able to go out once a week, Fridays until midnight. Literally, my senior year of high school, I was almost 18 years old. I was out one night till 12 a.m. and I had to be home before 12. In my high school and where I lived were about 40 minutes away. So I always had to leave everywhere at 11. For some of you, it's like, yeah, that's the same. For me, for most of you, it's going to be like, that is ridiculous. And like, just to really anchor on it, I was dating a junior at the time as a senior, and it was her sweet 16. I had to leave the party early. My own girlfriend's sweet 16. I had to leave it early to be home because those were the type of curfews and boundaries I had. And at dinner, someone's like, hey, like, why didn't you just ask them like for more? Or did you ever try to break the rules? Heck no. I didn't have the confidence. There was no way I was going to ask mom and dad for that. Because what I was going to get was like a heck of no, maybe like a smack in the butt. Not really, not at that point in my life, but definitely like just, it was a no. And I realize now, if I would have had the superpower of influence, it could have been a different conversation. And I'm not saying use this to, do things that are suboptimal for your life, to be around people that are not going to positively influence you, to be around decision makers that aren't thinking about their future. That is like not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that sometimes, as younger individuals, life is moving fast. We're seeing things and we're seeing like movement. We're seeing shifts. And sometimes we want to make a decision that's not the status quo. And like, I'm going to go for a crazy one here and like, stay with me. These are simply examples, not suggestions. Maybe there's like not a desire to go to college. And, there's a strong reason why. It's not like, I don't want to go because I don't want to go. I don't want to go because I want to go to trade school. I don't want to go because I want to start my business. I don't want to go because I want to intern somewhere and like work my way up, the corporate structure. So I'm not saying use the power of influence to not go to college because you want to, sit around or you want to play video games or you want to just like hang out and chill and live the good life. I'm saying this could be like an example of a conversation. Like, hey, mom, dad, I know you want me to be a doctor, lawyer, teacher. What I really want to be is an A, B, C. And for a lot of us, that's like scary. That's scary, to go to someone that we trust, admire, love, possibly, and say to them like, hey, I don't think you're wrong. I just think I'm right. And I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be this. And for some of us, there's a lot of, failure, fear of rejection, some shame. Oh, am I just doing this because I don't think I'm good enough? And all those might be possibilities. Or maybe you just believe in yourself that much that you see something other people don't. And it's your responsibility, or better said, you have the opportunity to unblind them, to help them see what they're not seeing with love, with integrity, with understanding. Because listen, to this day, my parents are my biggest fans. And I made a lot of decisions in my life that they didn't support. And I had a lot of doubt in making them because I could have failed. I could have been wrong. I could have let them down. A lot of things could have happened. And at the end of the day, I made those choices. And, luckily I'm blessed with, two beautiful, supportive parents who, even though they didn't agree with my choice, they supported it. And as we go through making these choices, it takes something in us to step into them. Because I promise you this, what's scarier than stepping into that conversation with your parents is stepping into that conversation with yourself 10 years from now going, I wish I stepped into that conversation with my parents. And that's a place I just don't want you to be. I don't want you to be there. I want you to have absolute, utter freedom now to make the choices you want to make for your quality of life, for your dreams, for your future financial success, for the time freedom you deserve at the magical moments. Whether that's like skipping down the street riding a skateboard, whether that's, being with your family, supporting them at home, whatever that is for you. And as we step into that conversation, we're going to like create a framework together. We're going to have 5 questions in order that can support you in having not only a conversation with your parents, but anyone. This is like overall, and I want to skew it through the prism of having a conversation with your parents today. Because I think a lot of you are like dealing with those dynamics. And when I say parents, I mean guardian, I mean supportive individual in your life. I mean like person of influence, mentor. This is like not specific parents. Let's go with like mentor. Whoever is mentoring, whoever is guiding you, let's call it guide. Whoever is guiding you in your life at this present moment, like you're going to have influence possibilities just like they are. They're going to say, hey, Tony, don't go left, go right. Hey, Tina, don't go left, go right. And in that moment, like you could choose to go left and or right, and you can choose to have them see their future in your choice. And that right there is a moment and a skill. And that's the conversation we're going to be on today. So now that we have a framework, now that we have a container for the conversation we're going to have here today, the next logical question is like, great, how do I do that? How do I have that conversation, Fernando? It sounds easy. Like I just go up, say hello, and like things happen. No, they don't. I'll give you an example. And we're like really ripping it open. I have had the pleasure, to pay my family's mortgage for quite some time. And I'm finishing off the year as we retire my dad. And as that conversation happens, there's like other things that need to happen. For example, my family coming together, mom and dad, bank accounts, things, to not be super specific, but there's like things that need to change. And I don't know if you know this, but having older people, or let's call them more mature, because they're not older. Michelle's like a young heart faux show. It is to have those that are more mature, solidified and in their ways, shifting is like not the easiest thing to do. So there's a conversation and, crazy moments. And I'm not recommending you wait for these crazy moments to have these conversations. I just want to let you know that life is this way and God is good. He has a sense of humor and he always puts you where you need to be. At least that's my belief. Doesn't have to be yours. Whatever is yours, go with that. What I'm saying is this is how it showed up for me. And, my mom came home about 2 weeks ago, busted the door open, was crying, like sounding like a mummy. I was on the phone and didn't understand, but I felt like urgency, energy. And the truth is she was having an allergic reaction. Her eyes were the size of, tennis balls. She couldn't speak. Her face was swollen. And in that moment, it was like calm. And I'm not saying this about this moment. The story ends at the end, so stay with me. And then there was like Benadryl. We had to rush her to the doctor. They gave her an EpiPen. The doctor put it in the wrong way. That's a funny story. We ended up in the hospital. The story ends with her being okay, by the way. And in the hospital, as she is, going through Benadryl and, different medication to like bring down the reaction, we're sitting in the hospital and they tell us that like we got to be here for 3 to 5 hours. And, Fernando is the type of person, I like to be efficient with my time, with my choices. And I had a lot of things going on that day. I had phone calls, business, things. And it's incredible how, we can never find time. And when moments like that happen, time was plentiful. There was no calls I needed to make. Everything was moved. Life was okay. And the focus was there. That was the focus for me. And as we're sitting there calmly, quietly, letting her relax, there had been a conversation I've wanted to have for a long time that made me truly uncomfortable, that made me nervous. And I had subconsciously avoided that conversation because I knew that like things might appear. And as we're in the hospital, holding hands, together as she is, coming down from this, rather traumatic experience, Fernando said to himself, well, when is now a good time? There's never going to be a better time to do it. We're here together. There's no other noise in the world. And it's just her and I. Let's step in and have this conversation. It was a hello to yes conversation with my mom, my parent, my guide. And that conversation was about, blending bank accounts and, what's going to happen after my father passes away and financial conversations. And my mom's first reaction when I opened it was, do you really want to have this conversation while I'm in the hospital? I looked at her and I grabbed her hand and I said, Mom, when is now a good time? It's never going to be a fun conversation. Let's talk about it. I get into tea. I can cry right now. These are not conversations I enjoy. And I'm not asking you to have these conversations. I'm simply giving you access to even something as deep as losing a family member is a hello to yes conversation. What to do after is a hello to yes conversation. And that's the opportunity I stepped into powerfully. And luckily I have the tools and the experience to do so. And the point of the story is that the breakthrough is magical. Recreated a whole new relationship with my mom. Recreated the way that my parents view me, the way that they view each other. And we had a beautiful breakthrough in that hello to yes conversation. And the hello to yes I was seeking was like, please help each other so I can help you. I want to help you and I need you to help each other. Not but and. I want to help you and I need you to help each other. And in that moment, the Valencia legacy changed. And it happened in 15 minutes in a hospital, in a place I never thought I would have the conversation, in a way I would never thought it would happen. And it happened. And the freedom from that is exceptional. How much pain do we cause ourselves from the conversations we don't have? Let's say that one more time. How much pain do we cause ourselves from the conversations that we do not have? Think of the choices we make because of the resentment. Think of the pain we feel because of the anger. Think of all those different things. What is the pain that we cause ourselves from the conversations that we do not have? And in today's, minutes together, my goal is not to motivate you. It is not to inspire you. It's to give you a tool, like a screwdriver, a pencil, a Game Boy, whatever it is for you. It's a tool. It's a tool to step into these conversations. And now listen, there's like a science and an art to this. So I'm going to work through it slowly and we're going to work on this together. And Mario, I see you. Mario Molina, I see you in the chat. I see you thinking. Listen, this is a two-way conversation. You're not here to listen to me speak. I'm here to have a conversation with you. So if at any moment something crosses your mind, please don't feel like you're interrupting. If anything, you're contributing, you're leading. So if you feel something in your heart, drop it in the chat at all times. If it's a question, if it's a thought, if it's an acknowledgement, drop it. If it's like, dude, I don't know what you're saying, it's all good. Put it in there because this is a two-way street. I want to have this conversation together. And let's access the tool. There's science and there's an art. And the focal point of today is going to be the building of emotional rapport. The focal point of today is building of emotional rapport. And I want to pre-frame by saying that this is not a full and complete mechanism for conversations and communication. This is one of many tools, yet it's the most important tool because that's at the top of the conversation. It's how conversations begin. It gives you the access to how to start them, stay in them, and in the future together, and obviously through the leadership you have in Michelle, I'm sure you will speak about sharing your identity, having new, beautiful, bountiful, integrous agreements, stepping into yes strategy and eliciting their pain, all that you will cover. Today, we're going to talk about building emotional rapport. Now listen, whether you're trying to build emotional rapport with the little boy, the little girl, or the lizard that you're trying to talk to and have a crush on, this is critical. So you can listen to this through the prism of hello to yes with your parents. Remember, I want to open it that it's a tool for hello to yes with any conversation you're having, a guide, a mentor, a teacher, a loved one, a friend, a stranger, a smart stranger, not like a random stranger, smart stranger. This is a tool that you can step into conversations with them. So let's drop in. So building emotional rapport, let's distinguish. There's a difference between rapport, true rapport, and emotional rapport. We're not going to spend a lot of that time here today. What I really want to give you is the steps. So everything I've said, if you took any notes, incredible. This is that note-taking time because there's going to be a few things I'm going to run through, and I really want you to have them in front of you because, writing, repeating, we're going to anchor it in together, and then you're going to have a beautiful experience the rest of the day where you're going to be able to anchor that in. So let's step into the tools, the question, building of emotional rapport. Fernando, how do you do it? There's so many right ways of doing it. It's not about right or wrong. It's about how optimal it is. You could peel a banana different ways, which I just recently learned. I peel mine weirdly. I take the whole thing off and people look at me like, what's wrong with you? You got to keep the thing. So there's a million ways to do things. Some are, more optimal. Some are less optimal. So let's talk about, highly optimal as Michelle has specifically curated, everyone here to come in, the highest of levels, not to give you the tools they think work, in exchange to give you the best tools that they've learned through their experience. So I've learned to build rapport many ways, and this way has proven the most optimal. And it's a 5-question process. Now, I'm not saying you're going to go question by question by question and boom, 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 and transformational conversations are going to happen. I'm saying is that have you ever been in a conversation with anyone and asked yourself, I have no idea where to go from here, or said to yourself, I have no idea where to go from here, or I have no clue what I'm going to ask. That happens to me sometimes, not as often anymore, but definitely happened in the past. I'd be in the middle of a conversation. I'm like, what did he say? What did she say? why am I here again? Like, what is my goal in this conversation? What do I ask this? Where do I take this? Do I acknowledge this or that? And there's like so much thinking we get in our head, we miss emotional connection, and the person walks away going, this person wasn't interested in talking to me, when all we wanted was to give them our undivided attention, love them, have them feel heard, seen, and understood. And it didn't happen. Not because we're bad people, not because we don't care, it's because we didn't have the tools. And now you will have the tools. So let's talk about the 5 questions. Question number 1 is to step into the past. And question number 1, no taking time, is where have you been? Where have you been? An example of that, if we were meeting in person right now together at this beautiful event, I would say like, hey, what brought you here? Like this is incredible. Like, hey, Samantha, like what brought you to the event? Boom, story. Oh, well, my mom, was like, heard about Michelle and was like, just wanted to see if there was something here. Like amazing. Like, what was your mom looking for? She was obviously searching something. Oh, she was looking, to figure out a place where I can have a team and community, and like, whoa. And like, why is that important to you? What does team and community mean to you? Boom, backwards. And like for a lot of us, it's like, oh, I do that. But actually, we start in today. We start today. Like what brought you to the event is much different than how has the event been, is much different than what are you looking forward to today. It's much different. What brought you here is backwards. So subtle distinction is that most of us start in the present. How are you feeling? Present. Hey, how's your day? Present. How was your day? Past. Subtle. So an example, if we're trying to like have a conversation with our parents, a lot of us, especially at a young age, we want to go right in. Mom, I want to talk about Pokemon cards. And it's like, I just got out of work. I just overcooked the rice. I just have to take out the garbage. All this stuff is running through their mind. And we're like speaking about, because for a lot of us, what we want to talk about is the most important topic. And I'm not making that wrong. All I'm saying is that that's true for all people. All people believe what they're thinking and they want to talk about is the most important subject. And as you rise in your emotional awareness, that begins to shift. So to simply start with the past, like, hey, Mom, how was your day? Hey, Dad, how'd your morning go? Hey, Uncle, what'd you do yesterday? Or how was your weekend? Starting in the past is a great access point to having people talk about what they want to talk about. So question 1 is where have you been? Question 2 is the present. So question 1 is where have you been? Past. Question 2 is where are you now? Present. So awesome. What are you looking forward to today? Present. Hey, so what are you up to now? One of my favorite ones. What does your day-to-day look like? What does your day-to-day look like? What do you do? What's a regular Tuesday for you, Johnny? That is the type of question that would be today. So past, where have you been? Where are you now today? And Mom, how's your heart feeling right now? I'm like, Dad, what are you present to? Mentor Toby, what are you thinking about? Today. These are the type of questions that would be present. And then here's where the magic comes in. The magic begins to come in when we begin to ask about the future, which is question 3, where are you going? Where are you going? So we have, where have you been? Past. Where are you now? Present. Where are you going? Future. The where are you going question is aspirational. It is so Mom, I hear all these things you're saying, and I know you want me to be this, this, and this. And if you can have it all your way, what would that look like? Remember, this whole time, I'm not making them wrong. I'm not questioning why they want me to do certain things. I'm simply curiously figuring out what is it that they exactly want. Because maybe they don't want you to be a doctor to be a doctor. Maybe they want you to be a doctor because they want you to help people. And hey, light bulb, you can help people and not be a doctor. Maybe they want you to be a doctor because they think that's the best path. And they think you did good in biology in high school and that's what you're going to be good at. But what they don't realize is that you were just good at memorizing notes and things. So when we begin to question why it is that they want the future they want, access becomes available. Now that could have been, that could land so many ways, but the where are you going question. It's Dad, if let's say I did make that choice, scarcity, I'm not saying I'm going to, but let's say that I did make that choice and everything you dreamt of happened, what would life look like 5 years from now? For you, not for me. Because right now I care about what you're thinking. So past, present, future, everyone, boys, girls, adults, friends, and family, in the forecasting of the future, you hear everyone's hopes and dreams. And that's what people really care about. They don't care about what happened. They don't care about what's happening. People focus on what the future is going to be like. And I know we train, and this is a separate conversation, to being present, conscious. I am not disagreeing with that. I'm saying that as much as that's power, most folk live in the future and the past, not the present. The past when they're in pain, the future when they're, in a more optimal energy. And being present is like the catalyst and creation of all things. Different conversation for a different day. So question 3 is where you're going. Question 4, here's where we begin to pull access. And this whole time, everyone, and I know it can feel like, man, I just want to talk. We're building rapport. Because what we don't want to do is speak into no. And that's what we usually come into. Am I wrong here? Like if you've walked into a no with anyone, like let me get a Y in the chat for yes. So if you walked into no conversations multiple times in your life, let's say drop a Y in the chat for yes. Like Y for yes. I have walked into no. Didn't even hear you, but they were like, no. And we begin to question 4, what's working? What is working? What are the positive steps that have been taken to get to this direction? So how are we going to pay for, medical school? What scholarships are we applying to together? Because if this is something they want, let's work on it together. I'm not saying you got to do it. I'm saying hey, I'm doubtful. And if we're going to do this, let's do it together. And what we're going to begin to pull is that they may not have all the answers. They may have the certainty that this is what they want for you, but they may not have all the answers. And I'm not doing this to pull and find ways to make parents wrong. I'm saying that beautiful, fine folks, loving, caring individuals sometimes stand in no, not because they want to say no, it's because they don't know how to get to yes. And this is what this mechanism is supporting you in figuring out. And the final question is what's not working? What are the difficulties? And here is where you get to speak into that listening. Because once you've worked all the different facets of why they're thinking about making the decisions they want to make, where they are at the present moment, where they want to go in the future, what are some of the things that when you begin to step the challenges, here, my friends, is when we can begin to say, well, I may have solutions. Here's where we begin to step in. For everyone, those are the questions. 5 questions. Where have you been? Where are you now? Where are you going? What's working? What's not working? Another way to receive that is past, present, future, positives, negatives. My name's Fernando Valencia. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Shout out to the rest of our speakers. I love y'all and have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your event. Bye, everyone.